Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. Welcome to the Trade Floor Options Game webcast, and tonight we're going to be looking at a whole range of different things. I'm joined by Ivan Churilov and Tim Gilderdale will be with us very shortly, and we're going to be going through trades, the winning trades, some of the better trades. We're going to have a look at our trading system, see what trades have been presenting there. Have a little bit of a look around. A few people have been asking some questions around covered calls and the like, so we'll go in and have a look at that as well. And we welcome any questions that you've got about anything to do with the program, trading during the game and the like. So thanks for joining us. Any advice contained in this presentation is general only. It doesn't take into consideration your personal circumstances. You need to decide for yourself whether it's appropriate to you. Past returns are not an accurate indicator of future returns.
And for anyone who's listening,
my name is Patrick Nelson, and I am hosting this session from Reach Markets, and we provide the education and support around the game, and the game uses the same trading software, our implied volatility software. So it's it's the same user experience, and it's what we use day in, day out for our trading. So, okay, Ivan, I guess you probably want me to go to leaderboards. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a good place to start. Good evening, everyone. Well, we're going to have a quick look at a couple of trades that have been the standout trades from the previous week. Obviously, we're in the last week of this game. I am yet to receive confirmation on whether we're going to do another one this year or not, but we'll be moving back into the world of simulation, I guess, for anyone else who is continuing with our experience. Obviously, you would have known by now implied volatility, and Patrick just alluded to, impliedvolatility.com.au does have the same simulation logic. So if you want to continue practicing, you want to have your positions moved over, you want to continue simulating with what you've got and where you're at, let us know. We'll be able to do that for you. So having said that, let's have a look at some of the trades that made up last week. And again, some of the top three were not anywhere near the top three. They were all around $50,000 in balance at the end of last week. So yeah, we've had a couple of good performers.
Fat Cat's come up the rear very quickly there.
Yeah. I am going to be very honest. I was looking for a couple of these guys for trades that may have been outside of the rules, and guess what? Everything's been legit. There's been some interesting trading going on. So we'll look at a couple of the trades. One big thing that I've noticed, and I think that this is the first time we've properly done that there's 10 daily 10-minute videos, and not only has the participation gone up overall, but the best thing is I can see people doing a lot more sophisticated trades that typically we just haven't seen, especially in a 4-week period. There's a lot of spreads now coming in, and I am personally writing that on my CV and possibly my grave whenever it gets to it. The guy who got people to trade spreads. TWE, let's start with that.
Carl has asked the question, do these super traders do the same with real money? Well, I don't know all of them, but the ones that trade through our platform most definitely do not. They trade very differently. And trading in the game, it gives you the opportunity to go pretty aggressive and try different strategies and do that kind of thing. And I guess if you're hell-bent on winning the game, you're probably going to be trading in a pretty aggressive fashion that unless you've got a lot of money, you're not going to be replicating with real cash.
Almost all in on XJO calls at the moment.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing is that I do see a lot of people coming through that they do tend to adjust their strategy going forward. But in terms of picking directional trades, finding ranges, and starting from trading calls and puts, there is actually a fair bit of that going on. They just don't do kind of 50 grand on a single trade and hope for a big move in 2 days time kind of thing, right? So, and then do it again with the 100 or 200 grand that they've got and just keep going until the end.
Yeah. Interesting that we've noticed, even just like with our team, after they've been playing the game a few times, they start to improve their ability at picking trades. And, you know, in the top 5, 2 of the guys are from Reach Markets. But they've played the games a few times now, and they're getting better and better at picking direction and also picking the strategies.
And also they've been there for the entire period of the game, so they've consistently made money as well, which is more important. I think that you know, as we're moving our game a little bit away from the focus of specifically making money to learning objectives and improving depending on wherever you are, hopefully by the next game, if you're an intermediate and you get into the game, you'll have effectively a tailored course for you to improve and become an advanced trader. And if you're a beginner coming in and you've never traded options, you're going to have a very different pathway. So that's sort of what we're working towards. So for those of you that are playing and you're sort of thinking, you know, maybe options aren't for me, make sure you're coming into the next game. And for those of you that are in there, and for the majority of the people in today's call, I can see a lot of familiar faces. I can see a lot of questions that have been coming through. I'm pretty sure most of you will be continuing or at least learning. So you won't need that reminder. But anyway, let's have a look at some trades and start going through that. So the first one, TWE. This was a it was a 1650-17 spread and a 1650-1750 put spread on the 21st of October. So you might need to zoom in a little bit. So this was a trade yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So maybe zoom in into a 4-hour chart or something. Let's show some of these intraday capabilities of the chart. Yeah, so put spread, so 17.50. So it sounds to me like it was traded right around about the open. You might want to zoom in a little bit, just specifically onto yesterday. Just change the scale a little bit on the side, just for that where the prices are. So one way to change the so to zoom in is to click on the prices on the right hand side and just drag it up, and you'll be able to zoom in. You might have to drag it across, drag it up. Yeah, you can sort of play around with it in any way you want. What are you doing with my chart, man?
Mate, I don't use 4-hour charts.
Yeah, that looks really good, mate. I just I don't know. It's almost unusable. But anyway, so I don't know how you could have massacred my chart so much. That's better. That's better.
2 hour. How about that?
2 hour. Yeah. So tomorrow we're running through how to use the platform together, Patrick. So it looks like it was put on the open. So yeah, 17.50. It was actually scaled into the trade. So this is Daniel Burge. I assume that's Burge, not Berger. Yep, opened it up yesterday, closed it today, 31k profit on that spread, pretty much one-to-one with risk, and a good trade, because what his assumption was is that it just continued going down. So it did, you know, dropped another $0.50. This was one of multiple trades which ultimately got him to at that point in time into the week, he was actually the number 1 performer, and he was in the top 3, I think, at the start of the week. It's just extremely good performance, lots of XGO trades, and it's actually been an extremely diverse set of stock picking. Some hasn't worked out, some have, and ultimately he ended up outperforming everyone significantly. I think 150 grand on the week from a 50k start return. I should have probably written it down, so I would have given you an exact number. It was roughly 152,000. So great diverse set of trading, very good set of picking. I think the question just came up is what actually attracted him to TWE. I don't know specifically, as I am not him, But the one thing that logically makes sense is that it was breakthrough support. It was a week open and right below a 50-day moving average. So just from a pure, easy kind of technical point of view, that makes sense. And the way that that's trading, you'd actually continue expecting further weakness in that stock. Moving on, CYB, a bullish trade, and this was a single trade that returned 150,000. This was this time around. This is actually that's fine as well. So maybe not a 1 year, but maybe a 1 month chart, if you may. So on the 11th of October, so just a little bit, maybe zoom out a little, maybe a 3 month chart just to zoom out a little bit. So yep, so on the 11th, as the stock started picking up, you bought a 220 call, right? So looks like that's that second big red candle. Sorry, second big green candle. I'm guessing. Yeah, so that is the 11th. Yep. So at the money, so high 218, so roughly around the close, I'm guessing you put it on, and 5,500 lots, 5,500 lots, $30,000 worth of risk by the 16th. A couple of days later, sold all of them and got $182,000 back. So it's about 152K trade. Not bad for 5 days of work, huh?
Not bad at all. Glenn just mentioned or said
That's
did
almost...
the CEO resign of TWE, so that might have been the and that in fact was the case. Whoever it was, Clark or someone, resigned a day ago. That was the trade that our mate did on TWE.
Ah, okay, right.
Looks like he was trading a bit of news.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We shall not name him then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea. I've actually literally, I think this month I've been living under a full rock. I haven't actually, it's really bad to say I haven't actually placed a single trade in the real market or the game market. Anyway. Hopefully I'll come back. It's just been, but I mean, you know how it's been. You've had a pretty hectic freaking month as well.
It has been busy.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one, APT, right? So it actually, we've spoken about it a couple of times. I'll let you lead this one. I don't know what you were going to say about it, so I'll let you talk.
Yeah, the third best trade for the week. Well, third best, performer of the week. Also fantastic result. I think that's actually the second best trade and just by a little bit of the week. Yeah, it's been an interesting one. It's had a freaking tough couple of days, hasn't it? Whole one of the there was a guy out in the news the other day who's one of the FinClear directors, by the way. He sold out of escrow prior to, and then the Latitude stuff, obviously, and it's just been a lot of stuff going on in that 1 week, and it's just been sort of just specifically around our world. And anyway,
they've been dragged into Latitude. Then they, had a couple of articles written about them, and just sort of perfect storm of stuff going on. Everyone in the media is talking about how competition's going to come in. The article the other day was don't use Afterpay, you won't get a home loan.
Nice, yeah, right.
Yeah.
They've just been...
That's not the headline you want if you're Afterpay.
Yeah. I wonder if it's almost a coordinated attack, right? Yeah. Anyway. Jeremy did a trade on the 14th. I wish for him that he did this on the day. 14th, he did a $33 put. Spent $11,000 on that trade. Ooh. And closed it on the 18th. So that's a heck of a drop.
That is a trade and a half, isn't it?
That is. Yeah, and that's just Yeah, and I'm assuming right on the 50-day moving average. And I'm guessing when he went into it, it was pretty much just like, okay, well, this is starting to move away from the 50-day moving average. Let's see if it comes back. And God, it sure did in a hurry. Anyway, poor guys at Afterpay, they're probably feeling it at the moment. Yeah, and Paul, of course, yeah, they had the valuation, UBS, and there was another major, I think it was Deutsche. It was one of the major internationals also significantly dropped their expectation of that stock, but it's just anyway, it was crazy.
Paul's asking, do we know the delta? $33.
That would have been about half, and by the time that he closed, it would have been pretty much one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when it closed, yeah. What was the expiry? Was it a November or
October? Yep, 24th of October. Yep, short-term punt, right in there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. That's how you make a lot of money in the game, right?
Yeah. Tim, you got any trades you wanted to look at?
Yeah, I was looking at S32 today. I closed out my position hoping just put in a price that was way higher for the actual option that it was trading at the time. I ended up getting hit, which I'm not necessarily upset about because it's right on that 50-day moving average. Be interesting to see if this can get a lot more steam though. So I had my strike price at $2.50 and I was kind of relying on this one to pull me to first place at the end of the game, but I thought I'd take my it's a strong downward trend.
I love how you're not satisfied with being like second or third or fourth. No, you got to be first. Got to win it.
Mate, I'm all in at the moment, so it's not about third, it's about first.
Yeah, he's worried about Blake. I don't think it's about winning, it's about beating Blake at this point in time.
I'm happy to be last and lose to Blake as long as I give it a go.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, yesterday...
Anyone out there that wants to have a look at any trades or wants us to look at any charts or any positions or anything in the platform or placing orders, closing things out, rolling positions, is there anything you would like us to go into? I imagine that those of you, I know a lot of people in the session tonight are sort of been to quite a few of the sessions, but if there is anything you would like us to go through, please let us know. Anything else, Tim, from your side?
Could have a look at LLC.
Tim has to have some stuff. I mean, clearly he wasn't sick yesterday. He was researching everything just to make sure that he's going to be in that first position.
Yeah. Here we go. This is interesting.
Yeah, so this one's getting close to reaching lit long stage.
Well, it would have poked its head above there.
Where are we? Yeah, it's just getting right on there for that 52-week mark. Golden Cross way back in July, and then it looks like it's just been going sideways basically since mid-August. But there's a lot of green in those candles.
Okay, so we're talking, for those of you that don't know, when Tim says lit long, we're referring to a breakout trade. So we've got a style of trading that is one of the systems, trading systems that we've back tested and had our quants look at in a lot of detail, and we've got a methodology for trading breakouts and certain strategies, and it's built into the system. So if you're looking at the trading scans section, I might go back to strategy builder. Let's go into scans. I'm imagining we'll have an approaching lit long approaching LLC. And so if the moment that goes green, if you click on it, it'll actually pre-populate a lit long strategy, which is an at-the-money bull put spread. But there is an algorithm behind it that calculates exactly what legs we would buy or what strikes we would buy. All right. And off we go from there. So going back to just a very, very quick explanation of what we look for on a lit long. Are we here? No. Just be one moment and I'll bring up a chart. All right, so when we're trading a lit long, we're asking ourselves a couple of questions. Is the share price above the 52-week high? Is the first, and we'll go back to that in a moment. Is the 50-day moving average above the 200 moving average? So we want to see a crossover at some point in time prior to that day. Is there a share price above the 50-day moving average? Is the 50-day moving average trending up? And is the ADX above 20, right? So if we go back to the chart, they're the things that we're looking for when we're doing a lit long. And so the 52-week high, we're right on that at the moment. So if it opens up tomorrow, I would imagine that a lit long will come up. The ADX is above 30, so it's high enough. We've seen a crossover, a golden cross occur. The 50-day moving average is trending up, so it ticks that box, and the share price is above the 50-day moving average. So that is a lit long trade waiting to happen there. And provided the market's up tomorrow, LLC's up tomorrow. And if it meets those rules, when we're trading a breakout, we expect a significant move to happen on the upside. And if it doesn't move on the upside, we expect a significant on the downside. Now, the relevance of that is that when you get into your trade, that's an important part for your trade management. So what we'll be looking for is if the share price goes up, we'll get into a position that we will stay in, right? So we're not looking for a 10 or 15% return. We're looking at being in this position. Usually 150, 200% sort of is the target of the sort of gain that we'd be aiming for. If the market pulls back, however, and it breaks this 50-day moving average, we will switch the position. At the money bull put spread is a sold put bought put. We'll buy back the sold put, and we'll be in a straight put, in a straight bearish position, expecting a significant move on the downside. So when all of these rules line up and there's a break, it's a major pivot point for us. So what we expect to happen is a move on the upside, but what we expect to happen more than the move on the upside is a significant move in one direction or the other. So the percentages are in the favour of it being on the upside. However, when the move goes against us, we switch our position, and the biggest profits that have ever been made with the lit long trading system is on the downside, is when we actually have to repair the position. All right. So interesting. LLC. The other one that James Hardy is already a lit long trade. So that presented itself the other day, and it's still behaving itself. I mean, the market came off and it held pretty firm. So that's still looking good. We'd still be happy to be in that position, in that lit long position. But there's a few trades lining up after there not being a lot on the breakout side of things for us over the last month. But the type of trading that's been seems to be delivering the best results in the current market are people that are range trading and trading off what they believe are key levels, using either support and resistance lines or moving averages to trade off those levels. Is that what you're seeing, Tim?
Yeah, and anyone who's done a call on CYB, just mammoth movements.
Yeah, good work, Nick. Guys, if anybody wants us to run a special session on that, let us know as well. We probably overdue running some of these sessions specifically around our condors and our lit trading systems with some stats and things. If you guys want to do that, maybe or want us to do that, please type in yes, I think, and we can go from there. I'm kind of hijacking your.
We'll run some proper some education courses around trading sideways moves and trading breakout moves over the next week after the game completes. We'll do a couple of sessions next week. Ivan, we'll work that calendar out tomorrow. We've got a trade group discussion tomorrow, so we welcome everyone along to that session. And beyond the game, if you want to keep coming along to the sessions that we run, the trade groups and the like, if you're a member or a client of ours, you get access to all of these different things. We're going to be ramping up the effort there. We've got some exciting news regarding our trading services that are coming out in the next week or so, but we're just ramping everything up and doing more and more of it. But the session tomorrow at midday, if you haven't booked in already, you can get into that through the morning report. So the morning report this morning would have had the ability to sign in for that, but tomorrow morning it will be there as well. So if you want to come along to trade group discussion tomorrow, get online and we'll be looking at the market again, and hopefully there will be a couple of breakout trades there and a few other trades lining up nicely. Other than
Long
that, if you want
COVID.
to take a trial of the platform, so if you've been using and playing the game and you're using this technology now and you can see how you could use this and want to trade with real money, type in yes and we will give you a trial so you'll be able to continue to use the same technology. We'll move you onto the implied volatility version. It'll give you trade ideas. It gives you a whole range of different things coming along with what you've been using, and we'll continue to support you and assist you to be able to use it in whatever regard you need. So if you need to speak to someone about a trade, you can pick up the phone, you can do it online, you can chat, you can come along to the webcasts, and all you need to do is type in yes, we'll set you up with a trial. You can move your positions across from the game if you want to continue to practice trade, and we'll put another $50,000 in your account. So you can trade with real money, but you've also got a sub-account. If you ever want to test trade something, you can do that as well. All you need to do is type in yes, and we'll get you set up for that. So for all those people that have done that, we'll get you set up for your trials. Thank you for that. All right, beautiful. Okay, guys, is there any other final questions, anything else you'd like to run through? Ivan, anything you would like to bring up?
Yeah, I just want to, so one of the things that did come up a fair bit over the course of the week in terms of the questions is obviously we spoke a lot about in the last week's session about cash secured puts and covered calls, because that's something that people can get started with straight away. For those of you that are trading equities in your portfolio, one of the things that sort of came up is how does IV rank interact with some of this? And I just want to, maybe if you can go into the strategy builder screen and into the stock screener. I want to do just a super quick side story. So one of the things that you would have by now heard of a fair bit from us is the IV rank, the implied volatility rank, which effectively shows you how expensive options are for that specific stock over the course of a year. So if you, for example, decided that you want to buy one of these particular stocks, if the IV rank is above 50, then what it's saying is that there's actually quite a fair bit of premium in the options themselves. And so instead of buying those stocks right now, or if you want to go and put in a limit order below the market, it might be a good idea to start thinking about using put options. So if, for example, a CYB might be not the best choice now, but maybe if you go into something like a semi group, if you just click on that, what's the chart done on that? 32.55. So there you go. That's a pretty good example. So let's say that semi group that's got volatility, that's popping up a little bit. Let's say we're happy to, or we decided that we want to buy semi group at $32. Do you want to just bring it up in the strategy builder? And that's pretty much, like in terms of the IV rank, that's really from a covered call, cash secured put type point of view. That's all you really need to think about from an IV rank point of view. It just shows how much we're actually possibly going to get out of that market. So the easiest way to create a cash secured put or a covered call is to type it in the box below. I wouldn't even use the options cookbook for this because you know specifically what level you want to buy it at. So 32, for example, is that level. We can go in and type in, you'll need to type in CIM, which is the code. And that's going to bring up the options chain. So from now, all you've got to do is you've got to figure out what expiry date you want. So let's say, I mean, this might be a little bit too soon, but let's say November. So you just click November up on the top. And in November, then just navigate to the $32 put on the right-hand side, and you'll get a quote. So it's trading around about $1. So just put in a -1 in front of that CIM. And so what that means is we're selling, wow, you finally used my calculator. Thank you. So what this actually means is that we are going, the reason why we're putting a minus in front of it is because we want to sell the put option. And one option, that SPC you see, which is right there, which is the shares per contract. So what it's saying is that we want to go on and sell one lot, which gives us the ability to buy 100 shares of CIM at $32 if by the 28th of November it closes below that level. In return, our effective price of buying it will actually be less than $31. So you see that theoretical price at $1.06? That is effectively saying that for our $3,200 position, we'd get back $100. So let's say we want to go on and put in slightly more than that. Do you want to just type in maybe just a 10, just to put this into perspective? So 10 lots means 1,000 shares. 1,000 times 32 gives us $32,000 position. We'll get $1,000 every 40 or so days that it doesn't close below $32, right? And then as soon as it closes below $32 on the expiry date, we have the ability to go on and buy 1,000 shares of CIMIC at $32. So that's sort of how those two work together. The IV rank, if it was lower, effectively that premium level might be close to like $800 for that kind of position. But you can do the calculation, and if you multiply that, if you want to take that bet for a little bit longer, maybe just if you hover over the 28th of November and just tick it up a little bit. So try an expiry that's maybe in January. You'll start getting a little bit more premium for that. So if it's the 30th of January, so what are we? 3 months of exposure. That's what my maths isn't that good today, but that's a pretty decent percentage return for taking a bet instead of a limit order. So that's something that people can get started with pretty quickly, and that's a really good way of starting to put implied volatility, that IV rank inside what you're doing. The same thing on the covered calls. If you've got some stock and you want to sell it, especially at these high levels, you might assume that some of these stocks, especially around the banking sector, that typically quite range bound. If the index starts pushing up, maybe we pick maybe pick CBA as an example, just as a simple one. Do you want to just type in that one in, Pat? There was that. Yeah, so let's, that's sort of trading around 80, that 80 mark. Maybe you're happy to sell around that 80. It might be an option to go and, so you've just deleted that. So just click that plus button next to the filter. They'll create a new tab, and you can create unlimited amounts of these tabs to see potentially different strikes, different expiries, to see how those situations go. But one way to do it is you've got your CBA stock. Again, just type in -1 in the quantity, and pick CBA maybe 80.50 November. With the weekly options on those big ones, you've got the W5 one. That just means they're weekly options, so you can get you can actually go on and trade this really a lot. So if your position is quite sizable, it might be worthwhile to do this more frequently, depending on how much you want to close it. But so there's no 80.50, but there's an 81. So maybe just pick that 81. Just that call this time around. So we'll sell one of those. You'll see this is quite interesting. So the implied volatility ranks around about $23 points, 100 being the highest, 0 being the lowest. You're starting to get a lot less premium out of that for a similar type move. So that's there you go, that's $0.50. So for every 100 shares, you'll get $50. So that might not be worthwhile doing it. So that's a really easy filter to go on and utilize. You'll also find, interestingly enough, typically what happens is implied volatility, or that period of uncertainty, tends to pick up as stocks start falling. So you can use that stock screener as a way to filter out some stocks that might be trading below the mean of the market, and they might be overdue for a bit of a bounce back. So if you're sort of trading in that kind of way, that might be a way of doing it. And the best benefit of that is if you go in and you're literally picking the higher IV ranks, you're going to be finding stocks that are probably possibly overdone. So, and options become better for that. So that's one thing that came up. I just wanted to clarify that a little bit from last week, because as I said, it's something you guys can start doing straight away if you've got your equity portfolios. If you're not, you're, without saying it exactly as it is, but you are leaving money on the table. If you are someone that trades limit orders in the market, and you might as well take advantage of it. The other thing that came up, and this is a really quick one for anyone who's got a margin lending portfolio, there are things you can do with stock as well in that space. Now, we're not margin lending experts, but we are experts with options. Once the exciting news that come through that Patrick has spoken about will be able to give you a little bit of insight into some of the things you can do with options if you have a margin lending book. So maybe that's one of those things to let Tim know on the desk, so he'll write your name down, and those guys can, some of the guys can get in touch with you over the next month or so with that.
Cool. Got a question here from Paul with regards to our sold strategies. Do you always buy the stock if the put goes in the money, or do you sometimes buy back the put?
Paul, I think you generally know the answer to this, but thank you for putting it there. I think it's more for the benefit of everyone else. You don't have to buy the stock, but and you can close it down. And this is where sort of the American versus European option of exercise style comes in, because with an American, if it goes really in the money, you might not have a choice. You may just get assigned, where you have to buy the stock before the expiry date. With a European, it's got to be on the last date. But in reality, some people don't buy the stock. The general idea, though, if you're doing a cash secured put, it means you've got, say, $10,000 in your bank account that you want to use towards buying a certain stock. You would use it with the intention of doing that. And if you think that the stock is going to go up straight away, you think this is the bottom, you wouldn't use this strategy. The idea is, if you think that it's going to drop a little bit and it's sort of close to where it is now, and you effectively just want to go in and get a little bit more from the market for taking on effectively that risk. So that's what options are really good for. The other thing is, if let's say you're looking at CIMIC Group and you have a $32 put option, you've sold that and you want to, with the intention of buying that at $32. If it drops to so even $30, right, and comes back on expiry date back to $32.50, you won't own the stock. So that's sort of an important thing to note. It can bounce through. You might not be able to take the stock anyway, which is actually probably the best result anyway. You're saying, I'm happy to buy the stock at 30. What did I say? $32. But I don't necessarily want that to happen right now, because you'll continue getting money from the market for as long as it doesn't. And if it suddenly moves up and you got your general direction wrong and you didn't get assigned on your stock, on your $32, and let's say it does move right back into that $40 range, that's sort of something that you just have to start adjusting to. The other thing is, if you want to go and increase your chances of getting filled on that, one of the things that the bigger funds end up doing, so let's say you do want to get filled right now, but you don't think it's going to go in and fly to $45, one way is to sell like a $35 put option, so something that's in the money, and what's going to happen is you're obligated to effectively buy that stock at $35 on expiry date, but because of that intrinsic difference is already priced into the option, means that you're effectively going to receive those $2.50 back anyway, if that sort of makes sense. And if it doesn't, there's probably not a whole heap of ways to to communicate that with me. Anyway.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
right.
That's that.
Any other questions? Does anyone else would like us to run through anything while you've got us here? No, I'm not seeing anything coming through. Thanks, Paul. Thanks to everyone to come along. Again, if you haven't already typed in yes to receive a trial on the implied volatility on our trading platform, or to open up a broking account and trade with us, just type in yes and we'll get you set up.
And you also do shares as well. You can do stocks.
You can trade shares, you can do covered calls, you can do a whole range of different things. And there's some exciting stuff around our service that will be coming out soon, but I can't announce it right now. But it'll basically mean that you'll be able to do everything that you want to do with options trading in any way that you want to do it, backed with a really good team of options traders behind it. So beautiful. All right, Ivan, thanks, mate. I'll see you in the office tomorrow. And everyone else, thanks for coming along. Good luck on the final days of the game. Go large if you want to win. Put it all on black. We'll review everything next week. I think we'll do some education stuff early in the week, and then once we've got the winner sorted, we'll put an announcement out and run a session going through how they won the game and what the best traders did and the strategies they used, and dissect that a little bit more and publish
it can't be
all
you,
of that.
Tim.
And it can't be you, Tim. Yeah, all Blake.
Very cool.
Beautiful. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night. Cheers.